Okay. A special good afternoon to everyone, and a very special welcome to yet another episode, seventh episode of the Let's Talk Prep show. A special welcome to everyone joining us across the globe and to the audience. Today, I'm Nyirenda Mano. I'm going to be your host, standing in on behalf of Michelle Marunga, who has been a host. She's unable to join us today because of some circumstances beyond her reach. Okay, a special welcome again to you, Nakanyika, Natasha, and Kawuku Veronica, our guests for today. So, of course, with support from Chaz and PEPFAR, we are grateful that we've been able to create demand for the Let's Talk Prep live show and under the Scale Up Prep campaign. And today, we've realized that we can't just continue having discussions on just pulling up prep, but we also realize that we have to pull up on the barriers, okay? The barriers in terms of the access to the sexual and reproductive health by adolescents and young people. Yeah, so Natasha, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. And hello, viewers. You're welcome to the Let's Talk Prep show.
Okay, great. Kawuku, I believe the viewers would love to hear the voice. Most welcome.
Good afternoon, fellow young people out there. We really appreciate your support by following us on our various platforms. We really hope that today we will really get to interact and get to learn more on PrEP and SRHR services.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kawuku. Okay, so we have a very good 30 minutes interactive session with you, our beloved viewers. Bearing that without you guys, we wouldn't be here, and we're grateful for following up. And please, let's be as interactive as possible. Feel free to push in your comments, your questions, so that we're able to see how best we can pull up the PrEP campaign and also create more impact. Okay, so without wasting much time, with regards to PrEP, okay, ZYP has been on the ground conducting sexual and reproductive health outreaches, especially also trying to enhance the issue of PrEP, the interest of PrEP amongst adolescents and young people in Zambia. So we've managed to get some of the interesting views, okay, the concerns from young people in terms of the access to PrEP and the barriers, which these barriers we have to realize that they are interrelated with also other sexual and reproductive health services. Okay, so today we've managed to get quite a couple of feedback from a good population of young people, and we'll be sharing them. We'll be sharing them and discussing over. So it's just a discussion and very interactive session that we have to be open with. I'll start with, okay, so some of the feedback we've got on the ground, Madam Kabuko and Nakanyika, okay, is with regards to PrEP, okay? What barriers exist and how can we address them? And with you, Madam Nakanyika, looking at the experience we've had as the Zambian Youth Platform and our guests on the ground in the field, uh, how can we say understand to address some of these barriers in terms of access of young people and adolescents to PrEP?
Okay, thank you very much, Emmanuel. So, according to like my experience with some of the barriers to PrEP, I noticed that there's a limited number of trained healthcare providers that
Okay.
deal with PrEP. Yeah, and then there's also stigma that is attached to PrEP. People feel like or think like PrEP. If you start taking PrEP, it's like you are HIV positive, and they don't really know that PrEP is a preventive measure. But since that, we've been trying to sensitize and give out information to a lot of young people through the Zambia platform page and the outreaches that we conduct. We give out information. Those are some of the measures that we're trying to put in place to combat the stigma around PrEP, even misconceptions that surround PrEP.
Cool. Okay. I think that's a good one. Madam
Okay,
Kabuku,
so to add on,
looking sharp. Yeah, look.
Natasha has mentioned,
Uh,
there's, a gap in flow of information. PrEP
okay.
was just adopted recently in Zambia. I think,
Mm,
if I'm
okay.
right, around 2016. And from inception, we would see that people haven't yet received it because there are a lot of misconceptions, attached to PrEP, and the stigma that has already been there, attached to ARVs. Telling someone to, be initiated on PrEP hasn't really been an easy journey, to be honest. However, as Zambian Youth Platform, we are proud to say that we are really scaling up the access and utilization of PrEP. We've been going in various communities, especially in the outskirts, sensitizing people because we've realized to say there's a gap in correct and adequate information. So people really shun away from accessing people because they don't really understand. Someone would ask to say, okay, mfuna niambie my ARVs when I'm HIV, negative. How's that? So you get to counsel them, give them adequate, and correct information on what PrEP really is. So number one thing is lack of correct and adequate information among different age bands. Apart from that, I think for the few that have been initiated on PrEP, I think we've come to realize that there's a lot of records on discontinuation on PrEP, and this I think can be traced on the stigma part again. And at times also it could be that someone is no longer at risk of contracting HIV. So people tend to
Mm,
discontinue. However, as ZYP and other implementing partners, we just have to continue scaling up, sensitizing people because someone can't access a service that they don't know about. So yeah, really, if we're able to gap the existing, inadequate information flow, I think we'll be able to curb that, gap. Yeah.
oh, great. Okay.
I don't know. Sorry. Also the issue of age consent, I think is something that has really hindered a lot of people, especially adolescents and young people, to accessing this service. Because, for one to access the service, they need to be tested for HIV, they need to be screened for other an adolescent or young person below the age of 16, they need consent. And our Zambian culture, you just can't easily go to a mother or a guardian to say, I want to access PrEP. The first question will be, why? They want to probe more, and a young person can't always be free to say, I'm going to engage in, a sexual activity with a person who's positive. it's really not easy. So if we are to, harmonize the policies around the age of consent, I think we'll be able to keep that issue as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's great. I think that's so profound. Uh, um, it's good to hear that young people are coming up. We're able to get some of this feedback.
Yeah.
It shows also that our demand, our demand is responding itself.
Mhm.
So, going forward, it would also be a pleasure to hear if what are some of the are there any policies in terms of in terms of PrEP, our systems like civil systems and the like, or religious policies, for example, that interfere with PrEP distribution and administration? Are there any policies around such? Maybe I've come across some of the policies, because the thing is, policies are some of the standing in as the law. It's something
Oh
that
yeah.
gives the people the confidence to be able to be free enough to say they are safe
Mhm.
and they're
Mhm.
secure. So
Oh
are there
yeah.
health policies or yeah, that interfere with PrEP distribution and administration so far? Maybe we may say maybe are they the ones that maybe push young people to be able to not be free enough, or maybe to have guardians, okay, be able to, instead of coming up to give consent, or but hold back instead.
Okay, so I feel that there are no policies that interfere with PrEP administration or initiation. Well, although we've like during our outreaches, we've had encounters whereby healthcare providers would say we cannot carry PrEP in the communities when we have like outdoor outreaches, like we're taking services to the people in the communities. So there are different type of healthcare providers who would say we cannot take PrEP to the community. But I feel like if for instance, this healthcare provider is saying that they cannot provide PrEP, like take PrEP, because they're saying that PrEP are ARVs. So I feel
Yeah.
like what happens when they visit the ART clients in their homes? Don't they carry the ARV drugs to their home? So what's the difference between ARV drugs for people who are positive and the PrEP that is going to prevent people from acquiring HIV? So I feel like, personally, I feel there are no policies that interfere with PrEP initiation. It's just the mindset of someone.
Oh, great. Okay. No, thank you so much for that, Natasha. It's one of the, at least ZYP, we must be able to attest that ZYP has managed to also influence even other radio stations to put up call-in interviews, to be able to interact with young people and also alert them that PrEP indeed has no such limitations and policies that bring it back, pushing it back. So, realizing that uh, PrEP being one of the major sexual and reproductive health services that young people have to access, uh, we also have these services being interrelated. Okay, HIV, for example. HIV is standing in as the basis, as the ground for PrEP, because we can't get to PrEP without with the interest of HIV coming in. Okay, someone being HIV tested, either positive or negative,
Okay, so I don't know what has happened to Emmanuel, and just to like add on to his question to say, are there policies that affect or interfere with PrEP? So just to add on, like from the comments that Veronica had made earlier, to say that adolescents that are younger than 16, they need
or negative.
to bring their parents to take to for age consent purposes. That Hi, Emmanuel, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so I
Okay,
was
thank you.
just adding to the what's this? Are there
Mm,
policies that interfere? So while we were talking, I was thinking about the age consent concept
okay.
that
Mhm.
uh, adolescents that are younger than 16 years old have to like have needs a guardian to for them to like consent for them to get HIV tested. So, for instance, if you want to give someone PrEP who is younger than the one that needs age consent, so there will be need for them to bring in their parents. I think it is gonna
Great.
it's a barrier, and it can also interfere in PrEP administration because of that. Because I cannot go home and tell my parents say like if I'm young, I cannot go home to tell my parents say I want to start accessing PrEP. So can you please stand in for me as I do the HIV testing? And they'll start bringing issues of you're still young, and they're like, so I feel that one might interfere with PrEP initiation.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and just to add on, like Natasha, you mentioned of policies that interfere with PrEP not existing. Yes, it's very true apparently, and it's just I don't know if it's unfortunate or what word can I use? The policies are not interfering. However, I feel the guidelines given by UN on how PrEP should be administered, I think they somehow, create a gap somewhere because, for one to access PrEP, like I mentioned, they need to be, screened or tested for that other ailments. And sometimes you would be in a community or in the field, someone
Mhm.
wants to access PrEP, a health worker is not able to screen, like Natasha has mentioned, even in health workers, we have inadequate health workers who are able to screen and really properly initiate someone on PrEP. So you would be in the field at times, and someone cannot access PrEP because they've not yet been screened for other ailments. So I think those guidelines somehow, create a hint in one accessing PrEP because when, for example, someone is coming from a place or village where that is like 12 kilometers away, they are referred, to the facility to say, go and get screened for this ailment, go and get tested for HIV. Sometimes someone may just be even feel lazy to say, sitting in there, it's very
Yeah.
far and whatnot. However, ZYP, we've created a platform where we do escorted referrals. If we are deep
Yeah.
down in the villages, we provide actually transportation to refer clients, to the facility where they need to access the services. So I don't know how we can deal with that part where, the guidelines sometimes restricting, but apparently the health facilities that we've been working with as ZYP have been able to screen the people right in the community. But I'm saying this because I have heard it from other people to say, that facility does not offer PrEP in the communities. You always have to go to the facility. So we may not have those policies interfering, but I feel, there's still that gap on PrEP administration guidelines. So
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you so much for that profound contribution. This is so interactive. Thank you to our viewers. So we have great viewers watching from Mazabuka, from Livingstone. We have viewers watching across the country and Africa. Thank you so much. Please feel free to drop in your comments. Realizing that today we are actually broadening it to what are the barriers, okay? What are the barriers that young people are facing in terms of access to sexual and reproductive health services, okay? Realizing that PrEP is actually a very important interrelated sexual and reproductive health services, that service that can stand on its own. So feel free to bring in more barriers that you feel you are going through from your respective areas to our viewers. Let's discuss this topic. So to you, Madam Kawuko and Natasha. Okay, so think it's something very influential to hear that we don't have limited policies and the like. So
Oh
in
yeah.
terms of in terms of other sexual reproductive health barriers, um, what are other sexual reproductive health barriers that you can tell us so that even as the young people who are watching can be able to be aware and see how best they can help themselves overcome those barriers from the various ends. And you can be able feel free to marry them with the strategies. If
Okay.
yeah, so that at least we can be able to pull up. What are the strategies that we can marry with and against those barriers that are standing? Thank you. Feel
Okay.
free. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So not so far from the barriers that young people and even other people experience in accessing PrEP. It's
Mm.
most of them actually apply on the other end on overall sexual
Mm.
reproductive health. And the key thing I feel, where there's inadequacy or insufficiency in information flow, there are always challenges. We've gotten to a point as a country or as health promoters. We've gotten to a point where we've forgotten the basics, on what really HIV is. The abstinence chill slogans. We've really
Mm.
forgotten those issues now. So if we could really get to a point where we're getting back, rebranding, on talking about the basics of HIV, what HIV is, the model of transmission, prevention. I think if we could enhance or get back to those, sensitization programs, I think we would get somewhere, would bounce back. Because if someone knows to say, okay, I have a right, to choose when I can conceive, to choose when or what type of contraceptive to access and utilize. If I am aware and that I have a right, to go and get tested, and it's actually free. I have a right to go and access safe abortion. I cannot, I can be able rather to combat other, unsafe sexual practices or taking risky behaviors. So personally, I'm really insisting on information dissemination on using different platforms, different things, different material is really, really vital, especially in the rural setups. People in the urban may be advantaged because we've got different, platforms on radio, social media, even people within the communities. But with people in the, outskirts, it's really difficult even for, CSOs, to reach
Mm.
out in the rural areas. So a lot of young people, especially adolescents, they lack information. So it's really vital that we strengthen, on sensitization, especially in the ground, right on the ground. You go flat out sensitizing people on sexual reproductive health, in the HIV, because we're an era where we want to combat HIV, So I think information and also um, distance coverage areas, has really been a challenge because we are grateful to the government. They're really
Mm.
striving, to push the agenda in the health sector. However, we still have, some gaps in facilities, so distance coverage area, you'd find that maybe in a catchment area there's one health facility, Emmanuel, which is like maybe 12, 15 kilometers away
Mm.
from the villages. So
Mm.
long distance coverage is also a barrier. And as ZYP, I'm proud to say that as ZYP, we've really, scaled up our campaigns in HIV prevention. We're going in the, communities, in the rural setups to, to offer information and the services, So we're bridging that gap by taking the services right in their communities, right at their doorstep, so that they're able to access and utilize the services. We don't just, give them information or make them access the services, but we also encourage them to utilize them. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So
Natasha,
just
you
to
have
add on,
something? Hmm.
yeah, just to add on the existing barriers. So I would like to talk about there's knowledge, like Kabuku has said, there's knowledge barrier and attitudes. So in terms of knowledge, uh, I'll tip it out that I'll bring in the aspect of knowledge because we have issues of lack of knowledge and awareness that we still need to do more because we feel like Kavuko has mentioned earlier to say, we have forgotten about the basics of uh, HIV and AIDS, the basics. We feel like we've talked about it a number of times, but we're forgetting that there's a younger generation that is coming up
Oh
and they've
yeah.
never heard about such messages as abstinence, EVT, and and the like. And then when we bring in the aspect of attitude, so attitude, social norms, and our values and beliefs, and how it affects adolescents, adolescent health,
Yeah.
adolescent access to sexual reproductive health. We see these young people who are the top at the top of the ladder in these issues, key issues that are affecting them. So if we talk about the barriers that young people face, we want to bring in the aspect of um, what am I trying to say? The aspect of uh, what's this word I'm looking for? The age of consent.
Age of consent.
So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So
which
maybe.
would turn a lot of young people away from the healthcare providers,
Oh,
and
okay.
also the negative attitude from the healthcare providers, which will shine away a lot of young people. But we see that these young people are the ones that are being affected by a lot of these STIs, teenage pregnancies, and new HIV cases, but we do not want to let these young people come and access services.
Okay. Great.
So I feel one of the strategies uh, we should put in place, or we are putting in place, is taking health services closer to the community that have challenges with distance. This will enable us to reach out to a lot of people who are unable to partake in such healthcare providers. Like ZYP, we have ZYP in working with sponsored by CHAS, we
Mm,
have integrated health service projects that we take services out there to different provinces within like southern. We go in deep uh, rural health
such as.
with rural communities. I mean, sorry,
Yeah.
to give such services like people who are unable to go to the facilities. We take um, we take services to them, and
Great.
then we also we also wish to say, or I also wish to say that government should restock adequate commodities such as HIV testing,
Okay.
uh, condoms, and the like, because with experience, if we go out in these outreaches, we experience a lot of stockouts with regards to commodities such as family planning,
Okay.
STIs, screening, HIV testing kits, and the like. So I feel like these are some of the things that should be found at the healthcare providers station so that we're able to reach out to a number of people out there to combat
Great.
such. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. It's been a profound.
So
I think we don't have the much luxury of time. Uh,
okay, so just to add on, Emmanuel, like Vicky has said, you know, we appreciate that our government is stocking commodities. However, there's a shortage or facilities usually run out. You know,
okay.
at times you'll be in a community offering the services, but you run out of test kits like HIV testing, and you have a lot of young people waiting to access those services. It's really, you know, violating their rights. One, and also sometimes some commodities may be there, but with regards to family planning, I may be willing or desiring to access Jadel. At times it's not
Um,
Jadel, there's only, you know, microgynon that affects, you know, my access and utilization. of that service. And at the end of the day, I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm not okay with microgynon. Oh, let me just do it just like that. Maybe I don't even have access to a condom. What next? The next time I'll be pregnant. Issues of unintended pregnancies coming. If I don't have access to a condom, issues of HIV, a lot of issues. So I think a lack of shortage of commodities is one thing that has really been that has really been a challenge on the ground. So if government could also evenly, distribute commodities, I understand that there are issues of, considering the population of the community and whatnot, but in the rural setups, the experience that we've had is really shortage of commodities. So sometimes as ZYP, we go with condoms, source for commodities to support the facility, so that our people are able to access the services. So that really is a challenge on the ground. And also, I think the clashing in is it policies? I would say, like the education sector, in schools you're only allowed to disseminate information, but when it comes to health, these young people have the right to access these services. I remember we had an experience in one of the schools in the rural areas where young people really wanted to access, PrEP, who had gone to sensitize, and we had a very, very big number, like 300 plus people who were reached out with information on PrEP, and almost like a half of them wanted to access the service, but they're in the school premises. This is a boarding school. So, they're not permitted to go out of the school premises. So we can probably say that if you are gradually, seeking permission from the school, they go and access the service. But then, should someone wait for a time when they'll be given permission to go out of the school premises, for them to access, because sexual activities are happening in the school. Because one of the teachers, actually the guidance and counseling teachers, actually mentioned to say pregnancy issues really come out of this school. HIV cases really come out of this school. So I think if we could curb how the two ministries could come up and come up with the consolidated strategy on how best to help the young people access these services, I think that could be okay. It could be a plus.
Okay, great.
And getting
So,
back to the issue of age of consent, customary law will say, oh, okay, someone who's 16, 17, can get married. The other law will contradict that, that law. Also, that has already left people and things in shambles, okay? Because I am a girl in a rural setup. I am 16, I'm 16. My parents say, oh, okay, provided this person, pays dowry and whatnot, you can get married. Here's the law on the other side. No, Veronica, you cannot get married. You cannot get tested for HIV because you are underage. But hey, I'm married, I'm accessing, family planning, but I can't get tested. I need someone, but I'm a married person. So if we could, get to a place where these laws are harmonized, I think we can get somewhere also.
yeah,
However, I
great.
also need to understand to say that it's not easy and it's not a smooth journey to change policies and whatnot. So the question is, what do we do as we're waiting for these policies to be worked on? So there are a whole lot of these issues around access and utilization of SRHR services. We have a lot
Great.
of work to
So,
do.
awesome. Great. So we have some comments. We have uh, a couple of questions here and comments. Thank you, Miranda. Thank you, Harrison. I'll start with. So Miranda is saying, in line with barriers in accessing SRI services, we currently have a limited number of peers for young people to interact with at health facilities, as most peers have passed the adolescent age. Okay, cool. So our viewers, you are getting the comments. We need more of you to join as more peers in these services. Okay, and Harrison had a profound one as well. I think these days, what matters is the method of information display. We are now familiar with seeing people coming to talk to us as usual, like talking. As educators as well, let us find interesting ways of making sure that the information will be practiced and not embraced. Great. Thank you so much, Harrison. This is awesome. So Shadrach was saying you can't see the sign language. Our sincere apologies. The sign language interpreter couldn't make it to situations beyond our capacity, but she'll be joining us going forward. Thank you. Also to Harrison, following from Western, thank you. To Harrison's comment, I believe Kabuko and Natasha can concur with me that the Zambian Youth Platform, with support from CHARS and PEPFAR, is already working on other more effective strategies in terms of taking advantage of the media platforms, okay, and also to work in hand with other organizations and see how best we can be able to showcase and also influence and also inspire the access of these services by young people in a different manner and more effective manner for them to be able to be inspired to practice them. Okay, thank you so much. We have other comments from our viewers. So interesting discussion, Inonge. Thank you so much, Inonge. We see you. We love you. Very educative from Hope Malambo. Thank you. Benefiting. Wow, thank you, Kunda. We're grateful. It's because of you guys that we're here. I mean, this would be senseless without the viewers. We'll just be chatting and chatting, and I mean, so we are grateful that because of you guys, we're able to also create impact and also learn something from your comments, from your contributions. Okay, so we had some of the questions we're talking about. How does this lack of SRH, okay, services by young people affect the community? Maybe in as we're trying to wrap up, we can also talk about just a few of touch on these areas. Madam Kabuku, Natasha, we can start with you. Even just 1 point or two, it's okay. Thank you. Okay, so Veronica, are you getting Natasha?
No, I can't get her.
Oh, okay. It seems we're having. Okay, great. So we had a comment also from Hansel. Sometimes access to PrEP has been attributed to HIV testing and laboratory subjection. Oh, yeah, great. Okay. I think Madam Kawuko, you're with me on that. Okay, we have people following from Solwezi. Okay, great. Natasha, is your voice up? Oh, you're clearing the throat. Great. Oh, not yet.
I
Okay.
still can't get you.
Okay. Okay, as Natasha is trying to work on that, Madam Kawuku, can you, what is, how does this lack of access by young people, how does it impact the community at large? How does it affect them?
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. Lack of sexual reproductive health services among young people really has a negative impact on one as an individual, as a society, as a country,
Yeah,
as a region, and as as an entire globe. This is why we
mm,
have increase in unsafe abortions, which may sometimes lead
exactly.
to death.
Oh, yeah.
We have issues of HIV infections. We can proudly say that as a country, we managed to hit the 90-90-90 target of HIV prevention and reduction. But if we have young people who are not able to access services, meaning we may not be able to reach or hit our 95, this is getting people are tested and found positive on art. Those who are on art, have a reduction in viral loads and whatnot. So we have increase in HIV cases, increase in also unsafe abortions, increase of teen pregnancies, school dropouts, and everything. So at the end of the day, it really negatively just impacts everything because sexual reproductive health services or issues are cross-cutting. They're cross-cutting all issue, all angles. Talk about education, talk about economic aspect, the social aspect. So really, then the impact is massive, and it's
Okay,
cross-cutting on the social aspect, the economical aspect. Here's a girl child, who's not informed on HIV prevention, has been raped. This girl doesn't know there is PrEP. What becomes of her? Definitely she gets infected with HIV. if she's not lucky, maybe she even falls pregnant, and yet we have emergency contraceptives. Had this girl known, that these services, she would have definitely gone to access. So those are the major impacts that lack of these services may have. And at the end of the day, it affects an individual, a family, like I have mentioned, this the entire globe, issues. Maybe you may have, missed someone who would have been a president, to HIV. You would have lost someone who would have been a president to HIV because they didn't know, that they can prevent that HIV infection. So there are a lot of issues apparently.
Great, thank you. I see Natasha is back. Hi, Natasha. Oh, it seems again you're still having a challenge with.
Still
Okay.
nothing.
Oh, we just got a nothing. Hello. Okay,
Oh
as
no.
Natasha is still trying to work on that. Okay, I
Hello.
must also Kabuku. I think I'm
Yes,
also
yes,
welcome.
ma'am.
I'm also welcome to also contribute. It's a
Sure,
discussion.
sure, sure.
So, ZYP has been able to also through this stepping out through other activities that we've been implementing on the ground. One of the strategies has been we have what activities called health insuckers that I think with time as a growing organization we'll be able to touch all the provinces of Zambia. So these health insuckers will be able also to in terms of outskirts rural settings have like public gatherings, okay, with the traditional leaders, young people separately, okay, and also discuss, see how best we can be able to enhance access to this, making them more interactive sessions. Like for example, very soon some of the Insakers will be coming through Chikakata, where ZYP's team will be having these meetings with AYP. Okay, like in very interactive ways, different settings where there's what we call chimbirimbiri, chimuriro. Okay, where for example it's one evening, young people come, they're invited. Okay, we sit around the fire. Okay, and we discuss together how best in the community can we be able to, okay, step up in terms of access to PrEP, step up in terms of HIV testing, because we have realized that we are a lot of organizations on the ground, but the challenge is young people still they get the information some, but the access is still quite breaking. It's not really there up to the task or to the response
Oh yeah.
expectations. So I think very soon some of these meetings we'll be having, and we'll be coming through other provinces as well to see how best we can meet up and discuss with AYP as well as the leaders. We have what we call focus group discussions where we meet the leaders. If it's Kitwe, it's what we meet our stakeholders that we work with. Okay, we meet people with disabilities so that everyone isn't left out. Everyone, no one is left behind. Okay, yeah, let me put it that way. We are all moving together. So, please, these discussions are rich. We need to share and encourage more people to access this information, and the difference will be seen. Thank you so much, Mr. Mwetwa. Okay, very educative interaction. Keep it up, guys. Thank you, Mr. Brighton. Thank you. Please also remember that we are live. Oh, she's back. Okay, great. Yeah, we can get you.
All right, thank you.
And actually, we have okay. We are this session is going great. It's testing nice. Yeah, I think more than it's testing more than pizza. So I mean, what is nice? Pizza. We are okay. So eating up some couple of minutes. Madam Natasha, we were on the luck. We can't just go without your contribution. Being experts on the ground, interacting with young people. Yeah. Oh my.
Oh
Okay.
my. On again.
Cool. Okay. Cool. All right. It
What's the
still
question
seems
again, you guys?
great. Okay. The question
She's
was
back.
The impact, what is the effect? How does this lack of access to SRH services? And as you talk about that, just kind of also give a wrap up of what does SRH services mean? Because we had some of the AYP asking about what is really involved apart from PrEP.
What services are involved in SRHR?
Yes. How does the lack of access to SRH affect the community? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
SRH by young people affect the community. Okay. And in general, what are these SRH services? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Emmanuel.
Welcome.
Sexual reproductive health services, these are services that are there for the people to access, and they are services that anyone who, according, sorry, anyone regarding to them knowing what their sexual reproductive health rights is, and they have the information of sexual reproductive health services that can be provided, and the ones that they want to access. So sexual reproductive health are services that are there for the public to come and access. Some of these services are STI screening, HIV testing, comprehensive abortion care, mother to child health. Uh, what else? Family planning,
COVID.
um, co-
Have
family
you COVID?
planning, voluntary male circumcision,
Cool.
and just to mention a few. And then
Okay.
I feel like adolescents require essential sexual reproductive health services and commodities, and these are key because these are
Okay.
the ones that border issues of teen pregnancy, issues of HIV and STI prevention. And so we need to create an environment where these adolescents and young people are able to access services without judgment.
Great.
Services that are affordable, and we must also be alive to the fact that a young population in itself will avail with a lot of happenings. You know how young
Great.
people indulge in a lot of things. They indulge
Great.
in sexual activities,
Great.
drug abuse, and the
I
like.
think I may have to get into you to bite your tongue. I may have
Pardon?
to for that. I will have to cut you
Oh,
short. Yeah. Okay. I think that was profound and great. Yeah. Um, we are still moving forward with such discussions. We have to. You have. I don't know if I've beaten you or you're the one who beat my tongue, who beat me. But I had to cut it short. Okay, so thank you so much for today. But before even further wrapping up, we have a comment from Chingumbe Mushole. Okay, just to wrap up with this comment. So Chingumbe is saying family also acts as a barrier as young people and adolescents find it difficult to go to the facility to access access services when parents or one family member is the in charge. Oh yeah. Okay, great. Okay, great. So I think this is one of the barriers that we as the Zambian Youth Platform have been able to host and attend to already. For example, in Chipata, in Chipata and in Kitwe, in the Copper Belt, we've had activities called the Provincial Dialogue. Okay, where we sit with we make up meetings with traditional leaders, religious leaders, stakeholders, we work with in the health sector, as well as we try to see how we can bring in guardians and parents in the community to see how best we can be able to influence and really not just really influence, but give them information that PrEP and other SRH services are actually free and it's actually to save their lives. You know, it's a benefit to the family entirely. Because you can imagine an instance where if a child is deprived of the access to get information and also to get, for example, to get access to PrEP and get a consent and the like, and they find themselves in unsafe sex activities. Okay, so them realizing that because they are a risk as they step out there. They could find themselves HIV positive, which is something that would have been prevented. So thank you so much for today. Madam Kabuku, I wish you guys can smile a bit, even as we're trying to close. Just smile, although I know I'm looking serious in a bit. I'm just trying to read the. Oh, Noria, thank you so much. Noria this is indeed a very educative program. Thank you, Madam No. Okay. Okay, this has been your host, Nyirenda Emmanuel. We've been live on FB, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Please care to follow us on these social media networks. In case you may want to share the session, please feel free to share the sessions we've had. We're just young people trying to make a difference and be the change we want to see, as Mahatma Gandhi said. So thank you so much for today, Madam Kabuku. Thank you, Madam Natasha. Thank you to all the viewers who have been able to join in. We are so grateful. We're here to learn from you guys as well, also to hear more that we can do. Okay, for today.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Make sure that all the listeners are able to share information with the other peers. Be the voice that serves the next person. You may never
Please,
know.
please. Madam Kabuku, any of your words? Don't say, oh, I won't say last words. I'll say, please.
Okay, I think my take home to my fellow young people is, let's take responsibility of our lives, of our health, especially our sexual and our reproductive health. Let's be deliberate, even as we make decisions with regards to our sexual and reproductive health. So let's take care. Like Natasha has mentioned, let's share the information that we've, learned. Let's keep researching, even as we continue to discuss on various issues. Please take care.
That's on me. I was taking care, actually, picking it up from here, from the office. Okay, thank you so much to our viewers. Thank you once again. Please keep following the platform, if anything, so that at least you are posted and you can be able to prepare your contribution in advance for the next session that will be holding. From now till we meet again next week.
Bye bye.
It's bye bye and take care. Thank you.